It is a new era in college athletics where student athletes can finally cash in on their talent on and off the field with name, image, and likeness, or NIL. It's shaking up, though, the game in ways that nobody expected.
Yeah, new at 6, Arkansas quarterback Madden Iamaleava is transferring to UCLA, but the university is asking the player to return the NIL money. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams is live in Fayetteville right now. And Rachel, you spoke to experts about what's next in this situation.
Yeah, Morgan and Darren, that's right. Earlier today, we learned from Pete Nakos with On3 Sports that the Arkansas NIL Collective is demanding around $200,000 back from the QB transfer. And when I spoke with a lawyer and NFL agent today, he said in these type of situations, it's still unclear on who exactly foots the bill.
I assume that it will track exactly how college coaches that have buyouts, and in the college coaching world, sometimes the university, the new university will pay the buyout. Sometimes the new university says, no, we're not. We'll offer you a job, but you have to pay all the buyout completely yourself.
Lawyer and NFL agent J.R. Carroll does not know the details of Madden's case, but says in these type of situations, it's case by case on who would pay the $200,000. Carroll says for NIL contracts, they're normally 10 to 11 months.
It literally is a living document that has changed year by year by year. When they first started, there was none of the precautionary language that you're seeing in contracts now. And by precautionary language, what I'm saying is now that the universities are putting language in where they can claw back money if a individual signs the contract and then a few months later jumps back into the transfer portal before ever playing a down for his university.
This is the case for Arkansas early enrollee freshman Madden Iamaleava, who is entering the portal after spending just spring camp with the Hogs. The former 4-star recruit will be joining his brother Nico at UCLA, the school he originally committed to before flipping to Arkansas, a school that, while we may not know the exact amount, likely offered a lot of money to acquire his talents.
What you're seeing now is a completely free market. One of the few areas that are completely unregulated, which means that you can contract in any way, shape, or form that you want. And now you're starting to see universities contract in which to protect themselves. You can see that individual making somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a month from January to the transfer portal, and then after the transfer portal, the university obviously has to catch up to meet that $500,000 number, so you can see monthly stipends of $80,000 to $90,000.
But how can the University of Arkansas avoid the situation from happening again?
What you have to do is what it looks like that Arkansas has just done, which is place responsibility with the reward. And if you don't stay, there are consequences.
Now, it's still unclear on what those consequences for this specific case will be, but this is a topic that will be discussed by the NCAA throughout the offseason and likely beyond. But for now, I'm live in Fayetteville covering news where you live. Rachel Williams, 5 News.
All right, Rachel, thanks. A double murder suspect made his first court appearance today in Fort Smith. Nevash Ruach pled not guilty to 2 charges of first-degree murder today. Charges stem from a deadly shooting this month outside the Foxfire Club that claimed the lives of Brian Jones and Todd Jewell. Ruach is being held in the Sebastian County Jail while he awaits his trial. We've also learned that one person died after a motorcycle crash in Fort Smith this morning on the Midland Avenue Bridge. Now, the crash happened around 6 this morning. It involved a motorcycle and a car. Police officers were on the scene for several hours this morning investigating. Fort Smith police have not released any other details about the person who died or what caused that crash.
Well, it's been nearly 1 year since the 2024 Memorial Weekend tornadoes devastated our area, including the Rogers Public Library. That's where we find 5 News reporter Kayla Davis. And Kayla, some residents are concerned that the library has yet to open back up to the public.
Morgan, repairs here at the Rogers Public Library aren't expected to be done until the end of this year. And at last night's City Council meeting, one Rogers teacher brought up some concerns that students will have less access to resources should this library stay closed a second summer. The Wednesday evening Rogers City Council meeting, Tiffany Colley, a third grade teacher from Reagan Elementary, said she's concerned about the Rogers Public Library's delayed reopening.
The library is a critical public resource for our community. Giving kids meaningful access to books is something that I am very passionate about.
She mentioned 10 out of 13 Rogers public schools are Title I, meaning at least 50% of students at those schools are on free or reduced lunch. Colley says lower poverty students rely on resources like the public library for opportunities to read over the summer.
This creates what's called a literacy desert, and it severely limits access to books and the children in these families that strongly rely on the access. So communities without libraries consistently show lower literacy rates.
She requests the city to use reserve funds to expedite the process. According to the city, they're still waiting on pre-approval from FEMA to reimburse 75% of the money that will be used to replace the library's roof. Meanwhile, Rogers Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Jeff Perry says they're working to make sure students in underfunded areas still have access.
We have a converted van, and we ended up taking some of our books on that van that we pull from libraries. Those teachers will go around to different areas and stop the bus, students be able to get on that bus, and then they're able to check out books. We also give them an opportunity to do some sidewalk chalk drawings, and we do different kind of things to engage them. And it also gives us time to reconnect with some of our students.
The city says drawings from engineers will be done by the end of the month, and bidding to get a contractor will start at late May. Live in Rogers, covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.
Thank you, Kayla. Well, as Northwest Arkansas grows, recruiting and retaining talent is top of mind for businesses. And as leaders from some of the state's leading institutions discussed today, in many ways, driving the economy starts in the classroom. Hundreds of community leaders gathered for this roundtable hosted by the Northwest Arkansas Council. It was the latest stop in UCA's NWA Blitz. A big topic of today's discussion, how to best serve every student. UCA's President Houston Davis says the goal is to have a wide variety of options for students and make sure everyone knows what the possibilities are.
Just about any citizen, whether they be an 18-year-old, about to graduate from high school, or it be someone that's in the workforce that wants to come back and retool and retrain. I love the fact that they could stand in front of the three of us, and one of our three institutions could probably meet their needs where they are. I think it's important that the state have an array of opportunities because there's never a one-size-fits-all solution to be able to solve higher education needs.
Davis says UCA is turning its attention right now to making college more affordable. As part of that effort, the UCA Commitment is a program the university launched to support Arkansas students who are Pell eligible or whose household earnings are $100,000 or less per year.
Arkansas's Financial Fraud Task Force met for the first time today, just minutes after the state attorney general introduced that group. Task Force brings together people from industries most impacted by fraud, like the Arkansas Bankers Association and the Arkansas Credit Union Association. Group will meet every quarter to share information with the Attorney General's office that'll then be used to track down suspects and focus on fraud prevention.
So I think the education piece is the most important aspect of this, just getting that information out to the public so that they're aware and that they don't fall prey to these scams. And you always think that you would never fall prey to something like that, but I think we all know people who have personally fallen prey, and we hear these stories all the time. So I think that's the really important piece, is that educational aspect.
Attorney General Tim Griffin says the task force will be an ongoing development. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders signing the Grocery Tax Relief Act into law this week. That law will exempt groceries from the state sales tax when it takes effect. The current rate is 1/8 of a cent. That means if you spend $100, you'll save between 12 and 13 cents. Tax cut will take effect in January of next year and does not impact any city and county sales taxes already on groceries.